In teaching digitizing, I often talk about the value of a swatch chart or stitch sampler. You may have read about them in my book, Anatomy of a Design, How to Think Like a Digitizer and Become a Better Embroiderer, or in my Learn to Digitize 8-volume course. In this video, I'll show you how to create a basic sampler template file that you can use as a master file for creating all sorts of samplers. Swatch samplers are a great way to check how stitches cover a particular fabric, how a fancy pattern fill or a motif fill looks when it's sewn. I really can't underestimate the value of having a swatch chart and using it. They don't do any good just having the chart. You have to sew them out. This is especially true if you are a digitizer. Even if your software has fabric recipes, do you know if they're exactly what you want for your particular effect or the color of fabric you're using? You won't know unless you make a test. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to recreate this chart. So we'll start by creating a new document, and let's zoom out. And we're going to create a square. And I want a square that's 30 by 30 millimeters. Since my grid is set up to 10 by 10, it makes it easy to just drag one out to 3 by 3 squares. And let's make sure that it's set to complex fill. And I'm going to check the size. That's pretty close, but let's just be accurate here. And I'm going to move it over a bit, just using the arrow keys to nudge. I want to leave enough space at the top and the left side for my labels. So let's optimize the in-out points. I'm going to start this one up here. We'll regenerate. And now I want to duplicate it across the row. So I'm going to copy it and paste it 6 times. Paste, 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 paste. Now the last one should be on the top. And I'm just going to select it. I'm going to hold down the Control key to constrain the movement, and I'm going to move it all the way over here to the right. And I'm going to select all of my squares, and I'm going to distribute them horizontally. Now we do need to make sure that they actually are going to sew from left to right. Sometimes when I do this, they go in the right order and sometimes not. So all we need to do is just select each one, and you can see that the first one has somehow gotten moved over there, and they're going backwards until this last one. But we can reorder them pretty easily. So we'll go to Accessories, Set Stitching Order, and just number them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Press Enter and generate. And now we'll need to optimize the in-out points again. So I want to have closest point connections, and I want them to come in and out on their opposite ends. And generate. And let's just check them. And all appears to be good. So let's group those, and we'll choose Group. So now we need to build our rows. So we'll copy and paste. I'll hold down the Control key and drag it down. By doing it this way, we don't have to worry about things getting out of order. We'll put that one about there, and now we can select them all and distribute those. So now we have a nice neat alignment, but all of the rows are sewing from left to right. And we want to make this as efficient as possible. So we really want the machine to sew left to right, right to left, and so forth. This reduces the hoop movement, which means that we should have fewer registration problems. Now, registration is not a big issue on this design, but it's always a good idea to follow best digitizing practices even when you're making utility files like this. So we'll deselect all, and I'm going to select this one. I'll hold down the Control key, select the bottom one, and I'm going to mirror them across their vertical axis. So now if we activate this one, you can see it's number 7, And when I click number 8, you can see now it's going back in the reverse order. So at this point, we're ready to save this if we wanted to. Now we could set all of our angles at the same angle because the even rows are angled this way, the odd rows are angled that way. Is it a difference? It could be if you're really comparing equals to equals. So what we really want to do, we're going to create a density and stitch length sampler. So we really want to keep everything except the densities and the stitch lengths as equal as possible. So I've activated all of them. I'll press the space bar. I'll go to the complex tab, and direction is where the stitch angle is, and I can set it to anything I want. So let's just say 45 right now. So now they're all set to the same angle. We're ready to save. So I'm going to save, and I'm going to save it into a folder where I have all my samplers, and we're just going to call this SWA for Swatch, and we'll call it Master, and click OK. So now we have our master created. Now we're ready to use it for anything we want to. We could use this to change it to motif fills, pattern fills, and the next step we're going to add labels so that we can turn this into our stitch density, stitch length sampler.